Cat, what's going on? Shout out to Cat jumping on. It was very, very beautiful meeting so much beautiful people out west this weekend. So thank you for joining on SHU Radio today. I also want to send a big shout out to everybody on Apple TV, Google TV, and our wide audience in the Philippines. The Philippines have been eating us up. So much love to the Philippines out there in the app world. We got a dope show. Nate No IG is on. We see the people rolling in. Shout out to everybody jumping on SHU Radio. Feels good to be back on the East Coast. I had a beautiful time on the West Coast, but I'm back on the East Coast, and we are bringing you another show. MJMG presents SHU Radio. And today, y'all, you know, some people say triple threat. I want to say like quadruple threat. But this individual that we have on the show today has his hands in creativity in many different fields, many different accolades, many different rewards, but all under the name of passion and love for what he does. So I hope y'all on. Tell a friend to jump on today on SHU Radio. It's going to be dope. Golden 562, I see you. So shout out to everybody. We're going to let a few people come in, and we're going to go into a clip now. You know how we do on SHU Radio. We play a clip, then I give the brother an intro. With this brother's accolade, I'm going to try my best to crunch everything this individual does, but I'm going to have him relay it to y'all directly, because with all that this brother has done in his time of living, I hope I could do just as right and beneficial in relaying that. So shout out to everybody jumping on SHU Radio today. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and if you're in New York, keeping cool with this cold weather. Right now we're gonna go into a song. The song is Long Hard Times to Come. It's the theme song for the show Justified. I don't know if y'all watch it on FX. Check it out if you haven't. But it's individual, and I said I wasn't gonna do the intro yet, but I can't help it because this brother got his hands in so much. But this individual is not only a rapper, he's an actor, he's a writer, he's so much to come. Let's check this clip out, let's check this video out, and we're gonna come right to it. So this is SHU Radio, MJMG presents, and we got Tonez in the building. So tell a friend to tell a friend. What's going on, Music Masters by Noli? I see you. Check this out, y'all, and we'll be right on with the show. Uh-oh. Technical difficulties? Nope. Here we go, y'all.
Son, prepared to kill, son. A paradox of pain, baby, it's real, son. Lonely traveler, ain't trying to bow to you, but if you're feeling tough, dog, I walk up all challenges. Ain't got no family, you see this one of me. Might lose your post standing 2 feet in front of me. I'm pissed at the world, but I ain't looking for trouble. I might crack a grin, I ain't looking to hug you. Think about it, nobody wants to die. There's rule to this game, son. I'm justified, I'm ready to go, partner. Hey, I'm on the run. The devil's hugging on my boots, that's why I own the gun. This journey's too long, I'm looking for some answers. So much time stressing, I forget the questions. I fear no man, you don't want no problems, B. Eyes in the back of my head, you better not follow me. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off, who wants some? I'm fighting for my soul, God, get at your boy. You try to go God, fall back, I go hard. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off, who wants some?
I see them long, hard times to come.
Yo, you probably think I'm crazy or got some loose screws, but that's alright though, I'ma do me, you do you. So how you judging me? I'm just trying to survive, and if the time comes, I ain't trying to die. I'm just trying to fly and get a little love. Find me a down piece and get a little hug. Hook the car up, hit the bar up, clean the scars up. Hey yo, the stars up. Hey, this is the life of an outlaw. We ain't promised tomorrow, I'm living now, dog. I'm walking through life, but yo, my feet hurt. All my blessings are fair, Man, I rest when I'm dead. Look through my eyes and see the real world. Take a walk with me, have a talk with me. Where we end up, God only knows. Strap your noose on tight, you might be alright. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off, who wants some? I'm fighting for my soul. God, get at your boy. You try to go, God, fall back. I go hard on this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off, who wants some?
I see them long, hard times to come.
You that cowboy they used to talk about, huh?
I had a crush on you from the time I was 12 years old.
What is it that you think I'm up to?
Yeah, I assume you're gonna do what you always done.
You are a violent man, my friend.
Honestly, you're the angriest man I have ever known.
On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off, who wants some? I'm fighting for my soul. God, get at your boy. You try to go, God, fall back. I go hard on this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off, who wants some?
I see them long, hard times to come.
Shout out to everybody jumping on the show. The individual that I have waiting in the backstage, waiting to come on, is an Emmy nominated artist, rapper, musician, songwriter, screenplay writer. I think I said actor, but I want to see actor twice. Shout out to everybody. Much love, much love, much love. They saying we love you, Tonez. They love you. This individual not only put in the work and creativity, but is behind documentaries that shed light on many of today's hardships and concerned viewpoints. I can't really put it in one word what this individual is and what he does, but what I will say is talent, passion, and expression. Help me introduce and bring on the stage Tone, y'all. Can I get some claps in the chat? Can I just get some claps in the chat real quick? What's going on, my brother? What's going on?
What's going on? Peace. What's good, man?
First and foremost, for those that don't know, you actually got your first starting role as a henchman in the show Justified as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, as far as the TV show goes, yeah.
And
I talk my way into it.
I wanted. That's where I was leading to. I wanted to know.
Yeah.
I wanted a little bit to know about that, but not only that. And we're gonna. I don't wanna bounce too much around. But you also was in the film Philadelphia, which starred Tom Hanks. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that.
Wow. Yeah.
So I wanted to give the people an early viewpoint of the individual. Like, they saw the video, but I wanted them to get a viewpoint on who you are. But if you had to, in one sentence or so, who is Tonez?
You said one sentence?
I try to put you under the gun. This is how I felt with all the information I had about you. Like, how can I word this? But all jokes aside, not even one sentence.
I'll say one sentence. I would say an MC born in the boogie down Bronx, New York. God-fearing man who just wants his voice to be heard, to help everyone else before himself.
And I love that. I love
That's
that.
it.
I love that. That in itself explains the grind that you have. Coming up in the boogie down Bronx, which is the birthplace of this hip hop.
Yeah. For everybody that's tripping around right now, birthplace.
That's the birthplace. That's the birthplace.
Yeah, definitely.
Undeniable. Was rapping or music your first start to this creativity? And if it wasn't, what was?
Before this was gonna be boxing.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still a huge boxing fan to this day. Like I watch still to this day. I keep up with boxing. But I wanted that's what I was gonna do first, and then my big brother, older brother, Special K, he was with a group called the Treacherous Three
That's correct.
with him, Kumo D, and the Late Sunshine. And when I started hearing hip hop back then as a little kid, then I fell in love with it right away.
So when
You know
was
what I mean?
when and I remember as a kid, like falling in love. Like it felt like it was always there, but I remember falling in love. When was that transition of falling in love and being active in that love happen for you?
When you ask the question, you say falling in love with hip hop, man.
Yeah.
I was about to tell you the first chick, you know what I mean? But no, I'm messing with you. You said what was it like?
Yeah, what was the transition to being active in it? You know what I'm saying? Like as
Um,
as a rapper person.
I didn't understand it at first. At first, I thought it was like I asked my brother why were they arguing because he used to come home and play cassette tapes of him and Mo D and all these other rappers. At the time, I didn't know they were rappers. I just heard a lot of and it sounded like they were arguing. So I say, okay, why? You know, my brother Cat said, why are they arguing? He said, why y'all arguing? He said, no, we're not arguing. So we rapping, and that's the first time I heard the term rapping. As far as MCing goes, rapping, I guess back in the days, you know, as brothers, you know, you say, yo, we rapping, we just talking. You know what I'm saying? But when it pertaining to hip hop, it meant, you know, spitting lyrics and rapping. So, but that's when it happened. That's when he's told me about it. I don't know I don't know. I can't put it into words. It's like I heard it. I started hearing the Cold Crush Brothers. I started hearing the Force MCs before they were the Force MDs. Curtis Blow, Grandmaster Flash. I just started hearing all of these, and it just I don't know. I could put it into a word, but I can't. I would just say that I just instantly fell in love with it. Like it wasn't like I liked it. I thought it was cool. It was like I gravitated towards
Immediately.
it, and it was it wasn't. You know, sometimes you can hear something and be like, it's all right. But then you hear something and you just get so caught up that whoever's with you got to tap you because you zoned out.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can hear a song or anything. It don't even have to be a song. It could be something that your spirit attaches to. And somebody could think that you like kind of blanked out for a minute, but you didn't. You just, you know what I mean? You got caught up because that's how I felt. Like I was just caught up in it and I can't put it into words on what it felt like. Other than just instantly, I was like, man, what is this? I want to know more about it, and that's what happened.
That's what happened. Do you remember? Do you remember that first feel of not just penning your own music, but like recording your own music? And what was the transition from the falling in love instantly to appreciating it to being the art of it?
My brother K used to take me. I was a real little kid, small little kid, and I remember K used to take me to the studio at Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill Records had a studio at there in New Jersey, and he used to take me there. And I used to see Melly Mel there. I used to see, but I didn't see the actual studio because I was just in the little lobby area with the secretary. Because when I would say little, I was little, like you know what I mean. And K used to ask the secretary to watch me. That he would go in there and do his little business. But the first studio, I was in the studio with older rappers and just intrigued by watching all these buttons and all of these things, and that's when I learned about people recording. Because you know when you hear a song and you buy a record or you buy back then it was vinyl or even after that a cassette, you don't really know what goes into doing it.
Yes, you don't.
So I was seeing it, but didn't know what it was. But I was already like liking the way the song sounded that my brother and them was doing. So to answer your question, I mean, as far as like when I started knowing, yo, this is what I want to do, this is what it is. It was when Kate started taking me to the studio. Before I recorded anything, I was like, I'm going to record something.
Wow. And,
You know what I mean?
and this was real to real time when you was going to the studio.
Wow. Okay, you know what it is, yeah. Hey, oh no. Okay, all right.
This was real to real, so it's not even like the digital time now where we could just chop. We had to cut that tape if we had to punch it. You know, we had to cut that tape. So
that's a fact.
You come from a real precious time, like I don't even want to say the birth time, but the birth and the growing stages of this game. And as you transition into the digital world, did that affect you musically or creatively, or did it enhance anything?
Nah, I adapt to everything, man. I learned that at a young age, man. When things change, I don't change. I just adapt, but I still stay the same.
I like that.
So I just adapted to it. It wasn't like, oh my God, what is these CDs and what is an MP3? Like I just, when it happened, I just studied it and learned it. You know what I mean? I didn't say, oh, I'm mad at the digital world and why can't we go back to vinyl? Because all of those things are still around. It's just that things evolved.
Yeah, and there's more.
And I adapted to it without losing the essence of who I am and the essence of hip hop. But I still have to adapt.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, to answer your question, I was like, it's digital, all right. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like bring it on. Whatever
whatever you got.
Whatever we got.
I got you. You know what I mean?
And I read some of the things that you do. How did you transition? And I know music and the entertainment business, whether it's acting, anything, there's a parallel road to it. But what was your transition into acting and screenplay writing and so forth?
I'm glad you threw that in there after saying transition. But how was it? Like, how did it happen?
Yes. How did it?
You know what? To answer that, as far as film goes, I'm a TV fanatic. Like the only reason why there's only a little bit of light in my room right now is because my TV's not on. My TV's on all the time. So I always wanted to do that. Always. After hip hop, I'm like, man, I want to be on TV. I just want to, and I just learned about it. I ran into actors and a lot of the shows that we watched growing up, from the Good Times, the Martins, all these. A lot of those guys, they're from around the way. So I would just talk to them and listen to them, and they would tell me these stories, and I just was like, oh man, it didn't seem like a hard thing to do. So as I'm creative in music, I can be creative in acting if I'm writing something. But if someone else is writing something, I can adapt to it right away, because the creativity of hip hop and writing lyrics, telling different stories and different aspects, it's the same thing in acting. It's just visual. I mean, there's techniques to it as far as learning how to act and all that, but so it wasn't that difficult to transition from that to that. It's just more, to me, it's just more creativity. So if I'm writing lyrics and then I wind up writing ballads in another genre, then I'll go from that to writing a play, and then I'll write a TV show. It's all creativity. So I don't look at it as, oh man, this is different from, it's different, but you're still putting your ideas to whatever genre it is.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that hard at all to transition, if you call it that. It's just another extension.
Being a creative, I completely understand how you could just put your creativity in anything.
Right.
But on the business side, how did you crack into it?
Well, it took me a long time because I got robbed. You know what I'm saying? My first record deal I ever had was with Motown.
Okay.
Back in the late 80s. And then it was a single deal. But it turns out the guy that was putting together the single deal, he was signing a bunch of acts from the tri-state area, from New York to Connecticut, Jersey. And turns out he got like maybe 60 to 70 record deals from rappers to singers in these areas. He took the money and dipped. Oh. So we all signed a contract through this guy, but he just left us hanging. And so Motown was nice enough to let us. We had a single deal, me and my DJ, and then from there, that's when we went over to Select Records.
Okay.
And so as far as the business side, we did a bad deal with Motown because I was underage. I wasn't supposed to sign, but back in them days,
yeah.
They didn't care. And then with Select, I signed to a production company for $90,000, but I only got 10 out of that. So I got robbed early, but I didn't know because I didn't have anything. So when you're young, all I wanted to do was play video games, go, pick my girl up from high school and go to a movie. So we don't know. So to learn the business thing, that didn't happen until, I'll be honest with you, bro. Like I ain't learned the business until probably I started doing that TV show music for the TV show, and I just learned from just listening and just watching. You know what I mean? Because the information is right in front of everybody, but they just don't know how to find it.
Yeah.
But it's easy to find it because we got Google, we got YouTube. It's right there. Back then, we had that shit. We had somebody had to school us, but nobody schooled me on anything.
Yeah.
You know, little jewels here and there. Some people might say, "Yo, why didn't your brother tell you?" They didn't know.
Yeah.
So when you hear a lot of these people talking about, "Yo, how come the rappers from the '80s and '90s don't help out these young kids?" Like, they still don't know.
They still don't know. Yeah. There's a lot.
Some of them do.
There's a lot of them still figuring it out.
But the other problem is they don't have the kind of platform that these kids can see. So if you got a guy like DJ Academic saying, "Yo, man, how come the OGs don't put the young guys on?" I'll be like, "Yo, why don't you put those OGs on your platform?"
That's true.
So they can reach these young, because on their platform they got like, 40 subscribers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you got somebody that has a big, that's when you bring them on. Like somebody like yourself, will be like, "Yo, I got young." You might have a lot of young viewers. They might pick up some game for me.
Yeah, most definitely.
Because you put me on. But you're not sitting there going, "Yo, how come these guys from there?" But you got a platform and you're doing it. So as far as the business goes, I learned from trial and error, man. No one really taught me anything. I lost a lot of things. I lost a lot of money. And I just learned from it.
And sometimes and many times that's one of the biggest tools to learn, because as much as someone could explain it to you, we really might not get the concept to your experiences. So that helped guided you. So let's talk about Justified and how that happened. How were you able to merge sync into that and also be an actor in the film?
That whole thing came from my partner Wrench. Wrench is out of Brooklyn. He's from Texas, but he lives in Brooklyn, your neck of the woods. And he had like this. I used to go to his studio in Brooklyn. As coming up as a young MC, it's hard to get into studios without a budget.
Yeah.
So when a guy like him, like my boy, this is a DJ named DJ JS1. He's out of Queens, and he had just went on tour with a guy named Rozelle, who was part of the Roots.
Yeah.
Does the beatbox, and so they used to tour a lot. And me and JS1 were really cool. And he came back off tour and said, "Hey man, I got the studio out in Queens. Why don't you come out and I'll pick you up and we'll record some music." So we went out there, but the assistant engineer was a guy named Oscar Owens, aka Wrench. He heard me in his studio, and he instantly was like, "Look, man, I got a little setup in my crib. If you ever want to record." He should have said that. I was there the next morning, like 7, not that ass. He'll tell you, I was there at 7 a.m. And I just started recording a bunch of stuff, and he had my acapellas in his studio. Over the years, we put out some things, but he had a lot of vocals of mine. And one day he just asked me, he said, "Listen, do you mind if I take your vocals and I'm gonna sample bluegrass and I'm gonna mix it with like boom bap hip hop and put like a mixtape together?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." And so he created this thing and he called it Gangsta Grass. I didn't come up with that name. That's all Wrench. And it floated around the internet and it got like a little cult following. And this was like mid 2000s, like maybe not now mid, but mid at that time would have been like 2004, 5, whatever.
Okay.
And so, fast forward, like around 2009 or something, the FX channel, FX network, had the new TV show Justified, and they was looking for music. They just happened to stumble on to that mixtape, and they liked one song on there. They hit us up. It's like, "Yo, can you?" But since he sampled on it, he had to get these musicians to replay it.
Gotcha.
So we did that. They liked it, and they said, "Well, how would you like? Could you guys take a shot at doing a theme song?" And I'm like, "Yeah," So they sent me a if you want to call it a synopsis or whatever of what the show was about.
Yeah.
But they didn't tell me much, bro. They said, "Man leaves Harlan, Kentucky, and then returns." And I'm like, "All right." I mean, did he go to the store? What happened? He got kidnapped? It was like, nah. And so I had to use my imagination. And so I took those small sentences, and it said, "Man," he's a man. But no, Marshall. He was a marshal.
Okay.
It did say Marshall. And they said he leaves. So, okay, he's walking. I'll say he leaves. So he must have left for a reason. He's by himself. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I just said, okay, he's on a road, but he's on a lonely road trying to make it home. And that's why I came in with the lyrics for it.
Gotcha.
So I did the lyrics, I did the chorus and the lyrics and sent it to my boy. And he just sent me the drums at first, and then he put all the music on it, sent it back to FX and Sony, and within that day, it was like, yeah, we want that.
We want that.
That was it.
Wow. Now, how did that feel as a creative to have that, to not only do the work, but have it chosen, and the work that you did and the creativity? Like I don't know if a lot of people know the backstory of like how much creativity you had to do to make the record, but how did you individually feel?
I'll say that it was almost like getting that first record deal back then, because you get to a point where you come out, because the album that I put out, the one I didn't put out, that the label put out back in the 90s when I first dropped after Motown, I signed to Select Records. So it's me, Kid and Play, Chubb Rock, all of these rappers. So I had records out, MTV Raps, all of that. But then I lost that deal. That's another conversation. And then I got blacklisted, so I couldn't get another deal. You know what I mean? And I know people are gonna go, what happened? That might be another section of this show, or maybe we'll do a part 2.
Gotcha.
But and so I was in limbo for a while. So for another company, it wasn't a record company, it was more of a TV network, to like what I did in the future. It gave me that same feeling of, wow, it's just like a second chance.
Second chance.
And since I'm a TV fanatic, I was like, and it's in TV, yo, like, you know what I mean? Like, so that was to answer your question again, it's a great feeling. To right now, people get goosebumps. I got eagles and ravens. You know what I'm saying? On my arm. So I get excited when I think about that. So yeah, it was a good feeling.
I respect that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of artists and creative listening right now, and a lot of times they hit pitfalls, and things happen or occur that sway them from their goals. But how did you maintain yourself after the situation kind of went left or sour and didn't go well? How did you maintain yourself and deal with that? Because that's not an easy thing to deal with, especially when the excitement and the passion and the goals.
Well, I ain't gonna be Captain Positive here. I was tight. I was stressed. I had to do some things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had to do a few things, to keep the lights on or whatever. But it was horrible, man. It was a bad time. It was a bad time because at the same time, like I said, I was blacklisted, and we'll get into that another time. But to watch all these guys and all these artists come out, and I ain't gonna lie, I thought a lot of them were garbage. So it kind of messes with you here, and then you start thinking, well, maybe that was it. Maybe that was just it for me. Maybe that was my time, and because no one was saying, "Oh no, you got more to go." No one was telling me that, so I'm just kind of like just watching all these little rappers just blow up, and then I'm just kind of on the sideline like this, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm just sitting there. You know what I mean? So, to maintain just life, I had to do some things, and I kept hitting studios and sending music in. And when I realized I was blackballed, is when I had meetings with like 10 different labels, and they were all excited. And then out of nowhere, I couldn't get the person on the phone that I was talking to a lot. And then I started, I didn't understand it. And I didn't learn that I was blacklisted. And it wasn't my fault. All right, you know what? Let me just, because people are going to be like, you keep saying blacklisted, but why? How?
Yeah.
Well, I left the record label. For people who don't know, it's back in the day, back in the late 80s, early 90s, a lot of those record labels would have bets with artists' budgets.
Yeah.
People don't even know this.
They still
with artists' budgets for their next album, these dudes will be playing golf and be betting budgets. Like, okay, I'll bet you. I'm not saying this happened. I don't want to throw a lot of artists under the bus, but I'm just going to name names.
Okay, go ahead.
And, from what I understood, this happened with a lot of their budgets as well as mine. So it was like, okay, we're going to take Run DMC's budget And all right, bet. Well, then I'll bet you I got Kid and Play's budget or Tone's budget, whatever, and they would play and bet. So if you lost, then your artist next album
don't got the budget.
it ain't gonna be popping like that. Like they used to do that shit. So when you start learning these things, man, and I learned it after the fact. So I didn't know at the time, and so I started learning. Can they be doing that shit? And so my brother K, he wrote a song called "It's Yours" for my other brother T. La Rock, and K wrote every word to "It's Yours," and he wrote it and gave it. It was his record, but he gave it to T, and then they put it out on Def Jam. So when you hear LL talk about, LL's my man, but when you hear LL talk about Def Jam, he always says he's the first artist on Def Jam. He's not lying. My brother was on the label with Rick Rubin, but it was called Party Time Def Jam. So I mean Party Time, and then they put it Party Time Def Jam. So I'm saying all of that to say that after that, the deal got messed up, and then my brother K, I think he tried to sue Russell Simmons or some shit. So I was like, the hell you do that for? And I think what happened was I was guilty by association. I ain't do nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I got swept up in the mix because K is my brother, and I just couldn't get a deal, man. I got blacklisted. Until, I'm probably gonna, people gonna probably love this part. And I know I might be jumping the gun, so I'm sorry if I'm going past the questions you asked me.
No. This is how we do it. We
Because once it's here, I start reliving it. So if I'm jumping around, y'all forgive me.
Man,
but the brother asked a good question.
You good.
I didn't know I was gonna have 67 answers to come after.
You good.
But and so what happened was I just couldn't get a deal, man. I was trying demo. It got to the point where I had a reputation of, yeah, that's the guy that's still trying to get a deal. Like, you know what I mean? I had that rep. And so my boy, Mr. Noise, he's out of Brooklyn, another Brooklyn dude from the Haitian part of Brooklyn. And he knew Jay-Z. I knew Jay because I did some shows with him back in the early 90s, but he knew Jay, on some other things as far as the streets go. And so, to be honest with you, man, I was trying. And then one day it was Jay-Z and Russell Simmons. My man, Mr. Noise, spoke to Jay and Jay's sister Michelle, and when I got that thing with Justified, remember that's separate from hip hop.
Yeah.
So it was almost like, hurry up, put me on before they find out I'm blacklisted. Like, you know what I'm saying? They messed that up. But they didn't get no wind of it. But Jay and Russell Simmons removed. It's like it just went away. Like the blacklisting thing just went away. And no, I ain't have to do nothing. Anybody ask? Ain't none of that shit. Because I was ignorant to it when it happened. I didn't know. I just realized I started getting shit. And Russell was more or less telling my man Noise, like, damn, man, that kid ain't have nothing to do with it. And he caught the backlash for something that happened with it. And so, so I was good after that. Now, I know I went off the question or whatever, but
that
when you ask me these things, I'm going to go over here, then I go over there. I'm just giving you a heads up.
No, that actually intertwines, and that's what we love.
I knew that. No, I'm messing with you, man.
we love to do that on the show because we love the true conversations. Again, we have artists.
Yeah.
We have companies on, talents. We even have a sculptor that's on right now. Shout out. So hearing these stories just brings the true life experiences to the passion and sometimes the fantasy. You know what I'm saying? So I love it, and thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, man.
So going back to Justified, right? You got the placement, and then how did the role? Was that the first instance of acting at all, or you was thinking about it before? How did that happen?
What happened is in Hollywood, right? When you have a television show in Culver City, they have these. It's like this big complex in each complex, there's these buildings, and within these buildings are big giant offices to all these TV shows. So if the WB is in this section, it's got a bunch of WB shows, and FX a bunch of. That's how it goes. I just wanted to know what those places look like, so I asked to go there, and I went to where the Justified office was, and I got cool with a guy named Rich. Shout out to my man Rich. and he was an assistant to a guy named Graham Yost, who's a very good friend of mine. And so I just went to the office, and before I knew it, I just said, "Yo, can I get in the show?" You know, of course, I got the whole it's not the right protocol, but I was like, "Can I get in the show?" Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I got what I have a reputation of saying when I meet somebody in the business, I don't want your email, I don't want your IG, I don't want your secretary number. I need that phone that you got that you carrying with you. I need that number. I'm not going through anybody to talk to you. I just think that's corny. And so I wound up getting Graham Yost's number, and I just hit him up. Yo, put me in the show. Put me in the show. And now, before I had a chance to meet him, Justified had won a Peabody Award, which I still don't know what the hell that is to this day. But it won a Peabody Award, and Graham was coming to New York to go to the ceremony. A guy named Greg Sill, God rest him, he passed away years ago. He was a music director for Justified as well as other shows. He said, "Yo, Graham's going to be in town." And like I said, me being me, I'm like, "Where?" Well, you know what I'm saying? They tell him I'm going to meet him. And so, you know, I went downtown to Manhattan, and I met him at this hotel, and we sat in the lobby, and we just talked for like a good hour, just chopping it up. And so I said, "All right, congratulations on the Peabody Award." And when I left, I didn't even get a block away until my man Greg said, "Yo, Graham just hit me up and said, I don't care what we got to do. Get this dude on the show. I don't care." So I guess my just conversation with him, that's what happened. So I didn't go to any auditions and other, and I didn't have no major role. I'm in like 3 or 4 scenes of a few different episodes and like one-liners and stuff like that. But I talked my way into it to answer your question.
Now that's dope. They say in Hollywood, the moment you say one word, you're officially an actor. So that's all it takes is that one word. So you most definitely did it. And your journey, like even hearing your journey and just saying, you know, the persistent coming out of the hardships and the continuation of pushing the envelope is a story that everyone that's listening right now, especially if you're on the app that can't see, shout out to everybody that's on Google and Apple.
Yeah, peace to all y'all, definitely.
It's most definitely inspirational. Now, did that transfer or transition right after that into the Philadelphia situation? How did?
No, Philadelphia was when I was a little kid back in the 90s, bro.
That was early. That was
way early. I was a super youngin'.
So
that right there,
yeah.
I was, like I said, I signed deals back then, and I wasn't supposed to because I wasn't old enough. But you know, back then, like you heard the Frankie Lyman story, you heard all of these stories of even Bow Wow and all these guys, you know, signing deals at 7 years old and shit like that. But so I had signed to a production company. I don't want to say their name because they were devils. Okay. They robbed me blind, so I ain't gonna give them the light. But I signed to them, and there was this woman named Lorna that used to work at the spot. She was like a receptionist and had this big crush on her, man. I used to go down there just to look at her. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And then one day they also had a recording studio there. So I used to, you know, after school or something, I used to come down. And one day she just said, you know, "I like your personality. You have a friend of mine that's doing a movie." And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "What's his name?" He says, "Jonathan Demme." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Wait a minute, where have I heard that last name before?" It was, I think it's his brother. His brother was, I think his younger brother, Ted Demme, is the one that created Yo MTV Raps. And so Jonathan Demme, he had did Silence of the Lambs, like he did all of these movies. Okay. And so I was supposed to have like a part, but Lorna talked them into it, and they just brought me out to Philadelphia for 2 weeks, and I was like an extra. So I was just hanging around Antonio Banderas and all of these guys, and got a chance to meet Denzel and all that stuff. And then Jonathan Demme said, "Look, we got to give him at least." It was like I was an extra 2.0. You know what I'm saying? So I got a chance to walk into a scene with them, but I didn't get to say anything. So I walk into a scene with Tom Hanks where he's in the bed dying from AIDS, and then Denzel comes in. So that was that, you know.
You know, like even though you were extra, the names you just threw around, you know what I'm saying? The names of legendary creators and actors that you threw around, you were like you were amongst it. You were amongst
Yeah,
it, and
man.
I'm gonna say this early. That wasn't by mistake. That wasn't by that. That was the order.
That was definitely by design, brother.
Yes, most definitely by
Mm-hmm.
design.
Yeah.
Your story even goes like not only outside of the creativity in a sense, but the genre. You also worked with rock and roll legend Tommy James.
Okay, so his Tommy's my man too. That's extended
Like,
family too. His
let's talk
no,
about
go ahead,
that.
go ahead.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. So remember I told you I was signed to Select Records when I
Yeah,
was young.
yeah.
There's a guy named Fred Mineo. He's the one that ran and still runs Select Records because it's still around. And like I said, in this business, folks, being yourself is a blessing. But do yourself a favor. Try your best not to rub anybody the wrong way
That's real.
when you on the ground floor and when you're trying to get up there. I'm not saying compromise anything, stand your ground on things, but be careful because me being cool with Fred since I was a super youngin', he remembered that. So fast forward years and years and years later, Tommy James is working on a new album and he wanted to put some hip hop on there. Now Fred on the label, he had Kid and Play, Chub Rocky, all these legendary MOP. Everybody was on this label, but he thought of me. He said, "Y'all got the perfect guy. This guy's a funny dude. He's, what I'm saying. He's got a voice on that." So he remembered. Oh, and I haven't spoken to Fred in God knows how long, but he's hit up Tommy, and me and Tommy wound up clicking. Before you know it, I'm on 3 songs on his new album, and one of the songs is one of a remake of one of his platinum records. The guy sold over 100 million records.
Yes, he did.
You know what I mean? And so I did that and that album, and I designed half the album cover, and that album wound up being on 9 Billboard charts.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Charted 9 times. 9
man.
times.
Mm-hmm.
How was that? Was that still just in a creative mode? Did that add any new light to you in the essence of what your reach could be and what you can do?
Yeah, definitely. But it's hip hop, you know what I mean? So it wasn't a problem for me to tour some bars and do it on there. But I just looked at it like, man, these folks are from like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. They don't even know half of them don't even know what the hell hip hop is, but they know now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I represented it. So it's a good feeling to just bring people in, and his fan base actually gravitated to me. There was a couple of boneheads that was like, "Stop ruining the classics." You're always gonna get those.
Yeah, of course.
But
Of course.
as far as the more open-minded people, that just opened up another lane for me.
That's dope. That's so
Mhm.
dope. Your journey, and I'm trying to give everybody a piece of so much different aspects. There was one aspect that, and you're also a writer. And I know in 2021, April, you released a poetry book.
Oh snap!
Oh yeah, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your writing.
Yeah.
And your thoughts on that.
Like I said, when my brother K, Special K, the Treacherous 3, he when he wrote the song "It's Yours" or other sibling, whatever, and the lyrics were going like commentating, illustrating, description giving, adjective, expert, analyzer, subminds, musical, myth seeking, people of the universe. This is yours. And I remember saying, "Yo, it don't rhyme," but he said, "Yo, it's hip hop, it's poetry. It ain't gotta rhyme."
Poetry in motion.
That was instilled in me when I was a little kid. That's what I'm saying. So jewels be dropped on you. Sometimes you don't even notice it.
That's right.
And so fast forward, I always had poems, but they were always like, my poetry book is mad depressing. If it was up to me, I'd tell people don't read that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'll mess your day up. You know how people complain about Mondays? You're gonna have 9,000 Mondays you read that. So but that's where that comes from. So I was always writing, and I just decided to, put it out.
There's so much that you have done. What's in the works now? Like where are you taking this creativity now to?
I have a new documentary that I'm working on, and I head out to LA next month. It's called The Parallel, and The Parallel is 7, and my favorite number 7. I'm not into astrology, y'all, so don't punch me into that. But my favorite number 7, and I was born on the 7th day of March.
Pisces, I'm the 9th.
See, you had to throw Pisces in there. See, I don't do all that Pisces stuff, but I get you. Oh, you born 2 days after? All right, you and Biggie.
Yeah.
All right, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh man, but that's
Yeah.
gift. It's still a gift.
Yeah,
You know
yes.
what I mean? Yeah. So the documentary is called The Parallel, and it's domestic violence, child abuse, bullying, suicide awareness, drug abuse, your mental health, depression. So I put them. I feel like there's a parallel between all of them. You know what I mean? They all kind of connected, intertwined in some way. And so I decided, instead of doing, because there's a million documentaries on depression, there's a million on suicide, so many on individuals. So I just wanted to bunch them together. And so I have people that's going to I fly to LA, and I get all my little Hollywood folks to tell the testimonies and stuff. And then I got people some people are going to film stuff and just send it in, and I'll tell my story. And it's not, I mean, we got some ideas for some solutions for some things that we're going to put in there with a disclaimer, of course. But that's just my next thing. That's my next thing. I'm not doing any shows. I'm just putting that documentary together. There's going to be a soundtrack with it, with a lot of songs that are about my journey and situation. So yeah, that's my next project. It's called The Parallel.
With speaking on the parallel and the bits and pieces that we did get from your journey, from like the mental health and the depression throughout your journey now, because when we going through, especially the time frame of which we grew up, a lot of anxiety. We didn't label anxiety and depression. You went through shit. You just went through it and you dealt with it.
Yeah, you fucked up in the game.
Yeah. But now where you are, and even parallel, and not no pun intended, but now even parallel to where you are with the documentary, can you see those points, that those marks from the depression and mental health has been something that you had to overcome or have overcome and not even notice that you did?
To this day, yeah. Well, see, the thing is like, I never think anybody overcomes anything. I just think you learn to live with it. That's like somebody saying, you never get over a friend passing away. You don't, even a heartbreak. The girl breaks your heart. If you don't, man, get over this. You know how we do. We get over that. You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, you just got to learn to live with it. And so I just think that's what it is. And don't try not to let it consume you.
Now,
because you can get caught up in it. But I would say attack it, understand it, don't run from it. Don't try to suppress it with, like I said, with substance abuse, or don't run from it. Just if it's almost like trying to hold in a good cry. You sitting there like, back in the day if you was little, and you start looking real funny. And so after that, for the next 2 hours, you talking like, because you've been holding in that cry for like 2 hours. Like, let it out. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? I would just not advise people, but I would say, yo, if that was me, just, don't suppress it, man. Because I got stress-related ulcers. You don't want that.
Yeah.
Don't want that. Yeah, as soon as you start getting upset and worried, your stomach starts hurting. It's real bad. So I would advise you not to do that. But I still deal with stuff to this day, man. It ain't over.
On this show, we asked. There's only one question on this show that I guarantee ask everybody on the show. Everything else is by conversation. I don't pre-record my question, but this question we ask everybody, with everything that you know now, every insight, every trip and fall, every stand tall. If you could look back at the young Tonez and share something to the young Tonez, what would that be?
Nothing.
That's what I told.
I wouldn't tell them anything because
I feel you.
Did I be different now? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think I think that's a kind of cliche. Not saying that you cliche, but I think a lot of people always want to know that, man. If I know, if I knew then what I know now, blah blah blah. I say, yeah, but then it would be different.
Yeah. You
ain't gonna have the kids you have. You ain't gotta, because when you think like that, people just think about that one
moment, that one time.
moment. I'm like, nah, you gotta change something. You know how they say, you ever watch those movies where they go back in time and they say, listen, man, don't change that candy bar that was half eaten. If you don't eat, if you eat the whole thing, it could change something for the next 20 years, like that type of thing. So I look at it like that, like, nah, I don't want to. I wouldn't. I just if I hope I'm glad I didn't know.
I got,
You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of people will say things like, "Man, Tone, your skills, you got skills." Because you be talking about the movie stuff, but I'm an MC before anything, and so a lot of times people will hear my stuff and be like, "Man, how come you're not as big as so and so?" And I say, "I probably wasn't meant to be there, man. I wasn't meant to be." I mean, back in the days, they was like Pac and Big, and man, you could have, you should have been up there with them. I said, yeah, but look what happened with them.
yeah,
So some not, God bless them, but I'm just saying sometimes you may think it's a failure, or you may think that, oh man, but yo, you still here.
that's
And so
real.
now you have insight on things that you might not have had if you would have went that other route.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like some people, like I have an addictive nature. So if I really like something, I'm into something, I'm all in.
You all in, dive deep.
That's why I don't do drugs and shit like that, because I'd be a fiend.
Got you.
This interview would have went a whole lot different, bro. You know what I
I
mean?
feel you. I always ask that question, and for our fans and viewers out there, the show is called SHU Radio, and
Yes, sir.
the SHU is the box in prison, and the reason why, and I've never shared this, but the reason why I ask every single person that is, when I was going to parole, the officer asked me if I could go back and do something different, what would it be? And I said nothing. And that was a moment that I was committed to my experience. So I ask everybody that on the show as a reflective moment for them to see how far they're committed or what they can do to further them now. So thank you for sharing that, because that is something that I really live by. Like once you
Yeah,
reach where you are.
yeah.
So if you can give on the flip side of that, with the creatives and everybody that's on, if you could give that advice, and it doesn't have to just be about music, it don't just have to be about mental health, whatever you feel is the importance of advice, but if you could share this, any words of advice to our creatives, can you open that floor for us now?
I know everybody says keep going and never give up. Like, yeah, don't give up. Keep going and never give up, and eat all your vegetables. But I only thing I would share with anybody is just be the best you could be. Like, just be yourself. I know it sounds cliche, but you'd be surprised how many people are not themselves. How many times have you seen an artist and you was like, man, or you was like, but then you watch them in the interview and go,
That's right.
yo, son is or shorty talking, and then you get into their music and go, then you hear their music different.
Yep.
That happened with Ja Rule with me. I was like, Ja was cool, but then I was there was a magazine Rap Pages or The Source or something, and I was bored. So I was on a trip and I was reading his story. I said, damn, Ja, I didn't know this. You need to put that into your music. So then I started liking the music a little bit more. So I would tell, and this is not just with music, like you said, it's with just in life. It could be a regular job or whatever. But I would just say, just do not be afraid to be yourself, man. No matter what it is, be yourself. And people always say try not to follow, but we follow all the time on
Yeah.
social media. Is all about following. So it's okay to, I don't want to say follow, but it's okay to be interested, intrigued by someone else. Doesn't mean you following them. Don't mean you deriding them. You know what I mean? It's like you just interested and you want to learn more. I would throw that out there too, and you find jewels in the weirdest places, because
That's
I'm
real.
gonna tell you like this: a lot of things that I've learned just about life, not is just from homeless people, random people I meet somewhere traveling, and people. In other words, when people that other people will look at them and go, talking to them, or you know, women are clutching their purses or something like that. You'd be surprised, man.
Yeah.
They drop a lot of jewels, man. Because I remember one time I was in LA, and I have this thing that I do where no matter where I'm at, if there's a homeless area, I go there and show love. And I didn't realize how bad the homeless was in LA.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was Sunset, I forgot where I was, but I know it was like a community of like homeless people, like a community, like outside, and they was just sleeping in messed up situations. And I speak to them, and they are the most content. They're not out there crying. They're not out there going, oh, I'm not saying that they're all happy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't see a bunch of homeless people doing cartwheels, but I speak to some of them, and they just said, "Hey, man," they say, "Hey, we wake up, they thank God that we got air in our lungs." So I know I kind of stretched the answer on your question, but I'm just saying, the best thing you could do is be yourself, man. And it sounds easy, but majority of these people out here, they're not themselves. Chris Rock once said in a stand up, when he said, when you meet someone, you don't meet them you at first, you meet their representative.
Yep.
And I was like, oh shit. It's like when the chick meet a dude, and then like 2 months later, they're like, he changed, or he ain't changed.
No,
You
that's
just
him.
didn't. That's him. Like, you know what I'm saying? You just ain't know that shit. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it happens 18 years later, but in some cases it's quick, a couple months. But yeah, just be yourself, man, and don't be afraid to ask questions. That's the key.
That's a big one. Yes.
Never be afraid to ask questions. If you don't know something, just ask.
Yep. I stress that on all the shows. Ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Ask a question.
Yeah.
We do have a question. Speaking of question, from the chat, and they ask, when can they expect the documentary?
Yeah, the way my friend Jackie works, shoot, if I'm probably April.
April. We keep.
Yeah, cause we're gonna do it. Cause my friend, I work very fast with my partner, Jackie Blue. She's directing and I'm co-directing, co-producing, but she's doing majority. But she works really fast.
Okay.
So once the footage is done, she goes in and just knocks it out and gets all the edits. She edits too, so it should be. I'm April.
April.
Yeah.
From the chat, Even Muse said, we appreciate the gems with a diamond and hands together.
Oh man, thank y'all for listening.
I wanna stop the music real quick, and I wanna say, we're in the era of everyone getting their flowers, but we do know flowers die. So on SHU Radio, we like to give our honor. His honor lasts forever, and
Okay.
I want to take this time to honor you, my brother, from
Thank you, man.
your
Thank
journey in the music to your hardships, to continuing your creativity, being true to yourself, understanding yourself, applying yourself, and not being afraid to take the attempts and chances with you and your creativity in different fields and aspects, to bring it back full circle, to do a documentary focusing on, child abuse, bullying, suicide, depression, mental health, and coming back to give us something and not just running away in your creativity.
Yeah.
And you even said, when I go somewhere, I go to those hardship places and I show love. So with that being said, my brother, we want to give you your honor here on SHU Radio. Thank you for not only being a creative, but being someone for the people.
Welcome, man. And I appreciate everybody watching, taking time out of your life to listen to me ramble and jump topics and and be all over. And my man here holding it down like anybody else would be like,
nah,
you know what I'm saying?
we welcome that and we love that. That's one thing. That's one thing we're here on MJMG SHU Radio. It's conversation piece. We want to just bring the real, highlight people's journey, but bring the human touch to light as well, because we have a lot of people who probably on the chat right now who feel alone because they probably not true to themselves or hiding that question or superficial to it. So I love doing this to bring that real touch to it, and I love learning people as well. So thank you. And it's real.
Anybody out there, man, I don't mean to cut you, bro, but
come on in.
Anybody out there, hit me up. I'm accessible. I'm not on that. I ain't gonna leave you on red. Like, you know what I mean? I got you. And if it's anybody from here, just make sure you shout out, you know what I'm saying, the SHU. Make sure you mentioned that you got, you met me from this this brother right here, man. And I'll definitely, I got time for everybody, man. There's no such thing as no time for me.
That was gonna be my next thing. If someone wants to collaborate, have a conversation,
what's
the
anything.
best way to reach you? So Instagram is the best way to reach you.
Instagram. I mean, I answer everything, even Twitter. I don't call it X. Actually, it's Twitter. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And TikTok was going for like 8 seconds, so you can meet me on there. Like, I'm all over. Remember, you see how people was wilding out?
Yeah.
People were crying. Like, I was like, damn. But I understood because they made a career of it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But we don't know what that was.
Yeah,
man. That was a power play.
Yeah, that
was
a play.
I mean?
That was a play all day.
Yeah, that was definitely a play.
Play all day.
Yeah.
But again, my brother, I wanna thank you. We will be keeping our eyes out for this documentary. If there's anything that I could contribute to the documentary. I love those topics.
You going to, bro? We gonna talk after this. They ain't no if, motherfucker. Like, I already got your story, bro. You in that motherfucker? You in it now? You just don't know it yet. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's what's
but
up.
we gotta. I want to shout out Noli D, man, because without Noli, I wouldn't know. You know, Miss Jackson. You know, Noli put all this together.
Yeah.
So we gotta show love to Noli D, man, because she's probably, if she watching now, she's probably going,
No.
why you ain't mention my name?
No,
But I mean, she,
Noli's been
that's my
very,
people, man, and she made this
active.
whole thing happen.
Very active in the chat. Very active.
Yeah.
Even
She in there?
Oh, she in there. She even said,
Okay, yo,
yeah.
Noli, all right, bet.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get on her. Call me later. Or,
She said you be getting mad when she don't answer the call.
Yes, until I stop calling, then she gonna be like,
so,
you know what I'm saying? But that's my people.
She's most definitely active in the chat. Heavy. So
bet. Make sure, much love to her, Miss Jackson, of course. And of course you, bro. I appreciate you having me on your show. This is not gonna be the last time, y'all.
that's right. No.
I guarantee that.
No, most definitely. And with everything going on and with everything to come, we most definitely gonna circle back. We tapped in already. Miss Jackson, shout out to Noli and everybody else in the chat. So we most definitely gonna see what the future has, man. We here for it.
My brother.
We here for it. Thank you again. Let's give another round of applause. Thank you for
All
coming
right, y'all.
on the show, man.
Peace
Thank
and
you for your
love.
time.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, my brother. You have a
My
blessed
brother,
one.
man. All right.
All right.
One.
Shout out to everybody that's out there on the app, Google TV, Apple TV, who are just listening in. Much love to y'all. Thank you so much, especially our people in Philippines. Philippines been holding us down out there, and I want to send a big shout out to everybody who sat with us through this and listened, participated. I know the chat was on fire. I was just totally engaged with the brothers, so please forgive me if I didn't see a question. It was just going through, but like even you said, perfect way to end the night. So if you was watching the show today, and we always, you know, I always leave with a word. Right? I just can't leave y'all hanging and be like, that's the end of the night, y'all. But if you guys were listening and there was one thing, let's stop this music. If there was one thing that you got from this, is the persistence in your passion. I know a lot of times we're passionate about something and it might not come to fruition. We might hit a roadblock. Life keeps on lifing, and something might occur where it interferes with your direction or put a block in your road. You're going to be facing, like he said, depression, bills, family life. You might wear more than one hat. Your mom, your wife, your husband, your nephew, your son. There's so many different things. But if you didn't get anything, no matter what hardships, no matter what hats, no matter what humbles or recoveries you face in life, be persistent in your passion. And persistence in your passion don't mean the consistency of the motivation. And I'm gonna say that again, not the consistency of the motivation. It doesn't mean that. Passion, live in it, keep creating, keep being you. Let the progression happen genuinely. Don't force it. Don't say it's taking too long. Just continue. Just like hardships come, you never hold your breath, you keep breathing. The more chances of you breathing and continuing your life, you have the odds of getting out of whatever it is you want. And I'm gonna take that back. Let me rewind that. Not even get out of it. Go through it. Because your experiences are you for the rest of your life. You just maintain and understand how to manage it. And the it is you. So the passion is you. The depression is you. Keep going through the passion, the progression, and keep pushing. I'm Spell Brooklyn. Thank you all for hanging out with us today. This was a really dope sit down with Tonez, Emmy nominated individual, author, rapper, actor, activist. I could keep going on and on. But most definitely, out of all of it, a great individual. So with that being said, y'all be great. Y'all be safe. Remember, keep going through it. Because if you stop, everything stops. And the it is you. On So Brooklyn, this is MJMG Presents SHU Radio. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I want to send a big shout out to everybody on the chat that I was hanging out with out in Cali this weekend in Oakland. Shout out to MJMG Presents, Miss J. Shout out to Kat. I see Kat's on. Shout out to Amber. Shout out to everybody that's on right now. Shout out to the people. Tim Dog, if you there, I see you. Shout out to everybody. It was much love. It was greatly embraced. It was a great energy, great time. And I'm gonna end the show right now with saying this. And I'm gonna go into his documentary, I Chose Life. Just a preview of the documentary since we got a taste of everything else. But I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna end it. When you have relationships with people and you meet people, foster it. Learn them, teach you, build you, and figure out what that means, whether close or far. Do that and leave the room to learn more. Y'all have a good night. Y'all be safe. See y'all this Wednesday for A&R Desk. See you next Sunday for Dungeon Talk, and we back here Monday 9:30 p.m. with MJMG Presents SHU Radio on Spell Brooklyn. Y'all have a good night. Be safe. Much love, y'all.
Of all the generations coexisting in America, it is believed that the millennial generation is the most stressed out right now.
Social media is